Good evening, boys and girls. Hello, no matter where in the world you are this fine hump day. I hope you are healthy, happy, and life is good. Tonight's show is going to be a little bit of a football conversation, a multi generational conversation. Everyone's getting stuck into transfers, who we're buying, who we're selling. But at the core of it is a very important football conversation that I think we all need to focus on. Let's do this. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. Whoa, this black background. What is this about? Do you dig this, Demian? Do you like it?
Definitely like it. Black, red, black, red, black, red.
Maybe for today we'll keep it. Maybe for today we'll keep it. Joining us on the show today, for all of you familiar squaddies, you will know this legend, Mr. Demian Arriaga. Welcome back to the Highbury squad.
Boom. Thank you very much, Soph. So glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And for all of you new listeners, Demian is a Arsenal women's aficionado. He's also a huge Arsenal fan, of course. He's also a very famous percussionist in the music industry. And can I say that you play for a little group called the Jonas Brothers?
I do, yes. Thank you. That's a kind introduction. You've been getting the checks, I see, all these years. That's awesome.
I have. We're going to have to get them an Arsenal shirt at some point, don't you think?
Yes, I think Joe might have kicked a penalty for Spurs one of the pre-game things. Yeah.
No, he's out.
But
because he's with my girl Sophie.
That's right.
Because Sophie Turner and I worked on a movie called Barely Lethal together a few years ago, and she's an epic human being.
She's the best.
Completely. They're all asking if you can play the guitar.
I can maybe later. I can physically play the guitar, but I can't. It's
not right now. Yeah. Maybe later.
But yeah, this is not just decoration. I actually can play.
He definitely plays.
Yes.
They're asking for proof. You know, these squaddies, they're really harsh.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. They got to pay me for
that. Definitely. Okay, so welcome to the show, everyone. Good evening, squaddies. I always, Demian, as you know, like to get may the force be with them. Who exactly? Ask Arsenal.
The guitar.
Hopefully. May Arteta get sacked is Taib's response to May the Force be with you.
Wow.
We've got Mark Gunner Runner in the house. As you guys know, Mark will be our roving reporter at home games. He's going to be videoing and doing a whole bunch of stuff for us and sending reports after. And Mark is also another epic human being who does so much for the diabetic universe. And being a diabetic himself, he's just such a awesome human being, Demian, who does a lot of great things. Matty K says he's driving home. He's going to miss the first 5 minutes, but yet he was able to send a message.
We'll stall.
Richard's in Turkey. How's it going in Turkey? Richard, I hope those fires in Turkey have eased up. Sending you all lots of love there. It's expanded. Now there's a lot of stuff going in my motherland of Greece. So we just send everyone lots of love, no matter where in the world you are. And during the show, let us know where in the world you are. Jashar, welcome. Hi, Beats. Good evening. Hi, Jay. Hi, Tom. Newman's in the house, sending bow tie throwdowns to Super Kevin Campbell. Newman, are you serious?
Newman's getting right. He sees Bjork and David Bowie. That's a X-ray vision right there, eagle vision or whatever type of vision.
Who else is on your wall?
We got David Bowie, Bjork. This is Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. The Aftermath record by the Stones. Extremes Pornography, the same shirt I'm wearing. This is a kind of a weird album by Megadeth called Hidden Treasures. Siembra by Rubén Blades, which is a salsa epic record. And Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
Nice.
A bit of everything.
I mean,
a bit of everything.
Drop the mic. Let's move on. I mean, that's amazing. And yes, I've already answered your question. Of course, he can play the guitar. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you should. He does sessions and all sorts of stuff. Right. Let's get to the football. Your motherland doesn't have a football team, but they have a poor cricket team. Oh, Taib, don't worry about it. stick with us. We've got you covered here.
Wow.
And Matty K is now complaining that he's driving behind a slow bell end and voice texting. Super Kev will be back tomorrow night, but he has sent a very special message because you know why? I wanted to bring Demian on because Demian's going to be the host of our Arsenal Women's Show this coming season, and he's going to have a lot of fantastic females around him, key informers, amazing women who know about the game, talking about the game, and he has loved and supported the women's game probably more than the men's game over the years. And so wanted to just bring him on so we can get you excited about what's coming once the season hits. And of course, this legend sent you a very special message.
Hi, Demian. I hope you have a fantastic Arsenal Women's Show on the Highbury squad. I know you're on tonight, and I just wanted to give you my best wishes for the new show. Take good care, my man, and welcome to the team. Welcome to the Arsenal squad. All the very best, and take care, and I hope it's a success. Cheers.
I think somebody's cutting onions in my room right now. That was lovely.
You're not crying. I'm crying.
You're crying. That's a very, very beautiful message coming from somebody that I respect and I admire and I look up to. And like I told you off air, and I've told him in the past, it's just an honor to be in any way, shape, or form in the same space, be it virtually or not, as Kevin. So I'm just beyond honored that he would take the time to do that. So very special.
Yeah. And you know what? We don't ask him to do these things. He just does them off his own back. He's a very, very special person. And you know what? You're going to have to answer to him on Bowtie Thursday, Newman. So just get ready for it. And you know what? Can't wait for the Arsenal Women's Show. We're going to be announcing the premiere day and our and what that show is going to entail. And Demian, you're going to be bringing great dialogue. I know you're a huge fan of the Dutch women's team. Unfortunately, They got kicked off the Olympics. You have a close connection with the Arsenal women's team, and you've hung out with a lot of the players. Some have left since.
Yeah, they have.
Are you still getting the DVD tattoo? Or
at some point, I would love that. I think I have to have a few conversations with my wife about that, but
okay.
But yes, at some point, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's amazing. I love the team, and I'm sure we'll get to all the details today. But again, super honored to be a part of this. I can't wait to share my love for the Arsenal women. I can't wait to, try to explain to people all the stuff that you're going to gain by supporting the women that you might not get from supporting the men, and what's so pure about how they play, why they play it, the place where they are in their lives, their not only personal lives, but sporting lives, how it compares to the men, and just try to bring people towards this side, because we need the support. The women need the support. They need every retweet, every follow on social media. That's their way of making money, a lot of them. And it's just amazing. And we're very, very, very privileged. Yes, some have left, but we're very privileged to have Beth Mead, Vivian Miedema, Jordan Nobbs, who just got injured, but Kim Little and Leah Williamson and all these players that is what we dream of having for the men's squad. We have them for the women's squad. So I'm not here to convince all the if they're misogynist or the people that are going to say, well, my third grade football team could beat them. I'm not here for them. I'm here to talk to people that have common sense, that are open-minded, that respect women, that want the best for the club, and that are true Arsenal fans. We got to support everything about the club,
And MK, who's going to be hosting our player profile stuff this season, she's going to be doing some great work on our academy players and youth players. Yes. The future stars of the team, hopefully. And I think she raises a great point here. It would be nice if Arsenal Direct did women's custom shirts and not just men's numbers and lettering. And I know that's something that you have also pioneered for.
I've seen it. Last time I was on tour, I went to the Armory and I wanted to get a Jill Roord shirt, and people didn't know who Jill Roord was. They thought it was just like, can I get a Sophie Nicolaou shirt or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should. I was like,
wow. I mean, you mean that one that's on the wall? Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah.
By the way, a very funny comment here from James. He's saying, good evening, Demian. And is that Fidel Castro or John Cena or Sophie?
Oh my God.
I've gone militant on everybody tonight. And there's a reason.
As a Venezuelan born and raised who's seen their country destroyed by a communist socialist dictatorship, I'm going to say it's more John Cena.
More John Cena, yes.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here in this space.
Exactly. And it's my salute to the squaddies tonight. Okay.
That's right.
So that's all cool. So you've met Demian, and those of you know him still love him. And good evening to all of you in live chat. Remember the rules of the house. Hit that like button if you hate Tottenham. And, you know, tonight is going to be a very organic conversation. I'm going to bring in another guest as well, because Wednesday Wisdom also dovetails. We do a Wednesday Wisdom show, and we also do Wednesday Women. There's going to be a lot of key informers and up and coming voices in the Arsenal universe that we're going to be introducing to the Highbury squad. Some of you saw Lucy last season, and Lucy's definitely going to be a voice that we're going to add to the show this coming season. Luce, welcome back to the Highbury squad.
Hello. How are
Hi.
you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You guys haven't met before. You've not been on the show before together, right?
We have not. Very exciting.
Okay. Very, very cool. So, and what I love about Lucy is, you know, she's a woman and she's learning more about the Arsenal women's team, and she's getting stuck into that a little bit more. And also I wanted to kind of bring us all together, because I woke up this morning and I had a show planned and I switched gears. And here's the reason why. So I woke up to the news about Jack Grealish going to Manchester City, and then the ongoing debate about Harry Kane, who's now supposedly in quarantine, by the way, but really we know he's on strike, right? I mean,
he's protesting for his own cause, which we like.
Exactly. We love that. Absolutely, Luce. We totally love that. And Ask wants to say hi, and Matthew wants to say hi. And Richard is saying it's nice to see you again. So I love hello to Lucy from Jermaine as well. I mean, stop asking Demian to play the drums and the guitar. I mean, we're going to have to do a session at some point, Demian. Okay,
yeah,
we're going to have to do a music thing. So I woke up and I was like, wow, look what's happening. Okay, we're in a COVID time, and everyone keeps saying there's no money. The clubs are skint. Right. And clearly that is definitely the case with certain leagues. La Liga, Serie A, the Xhaka deal broke down. And I'm going to allow Lucy a soapbox for that moment, and we'll get to that eventually. But I couldn't help but start thinking, look what happens. And it's happening to teams now, you know, that unfortunately we're kind of on a bar with. Are we on a bar with Tottenham now? Are we on a bar with Aston Villa now? Are we on a bar with Everton now? And you're looking at Jack Grealish leaving Villa. Instead of building a team, they've got very rich owners and making Aston Villa maybe the next Leicester City, right? You've got Tottenham who've wasted the Harry Kane years, completely wasted them, and not backed him up and not backed up that entire team when they were on that trajectory with Pochettino. And I woke up in a sweat when I saw all this, because here's where I'm going, everyone. Here's where I'm going, squaddies. I thought to myself, Kevin asked this question on Kevin Says last season. And he said, how long before someone comes in with 100 million plus offer for Saka? How long before teams come in knowing, right, that we might need the money, or that we can't offer these gems, okay, these players, the future that they deserve? I know he just signed a new contract, but you know what? Right now, we're offering our entire Hale end. We're offering Willock, Reece, and Maitland-Niles to sign Maddison. Now, I think Willock should be sold at a premium price right now, because his stock is high. And does Arteta really believe in him? Has he really given him a chance? Maitland-Niles seems to be that jack of all trades and master of none. We've actually maybe devalued him. Reece Nelson hasn't really truly been given a chance other in League Cups and stuff. So I woke up in a sweat, guys, and I was thinking, how long, if we do not do the right thing in the transfer market, how long is it before the Cities, the Uniteds, the PSGs come in for our Saka? And I'm going to start with you first, Demian, because you and I were talking about this on WhatsApp a little bit. And I just think it's a reality, because how can Arsenal also then refuse a £150 million offer for Saka?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm so glad you brought this up. And I think it's a result of years and years and years of either bad business, or let's just call it a shift in how we do business, right? And I'm not an expert. I would never claim to know what a player should be paid or what the board should do. I just go by what I feel. And what I've always felt, and we've spoken about this before, is that you have to replace players with as close to the player that just left, if you love them, as possible. So how long have we spoken about not having a replacement for Patrick Vieira, right? Forever. Mm-hmm. Since 2005 when he left, 2006. So that is just, I'm not surprised that this is where we are, right? I think when we get to a point where we now know what's happening. In other words, a few years ago, we had no idea what's going on. Everybody loved Ozil. I don't know why. And people love Xhaka. I don't know why. And you have all these things, and then we keep winning FA Cup. So it kind of keeps the lights on here and there. It's like this placebo thing. But at some point, we were presented with, it doesn't matter what you think, this is what's happening. Xhaka, ESR, Martinelli, and a couple other younger players, Tierney, for example. So now we need to back them up. Now I feel that it's the place where you build around them, not just one player. It's not Kane. You build around all these people that might not be a perfect sort of spine in terms of positioning, but they're there. So you respect them. You bring in proper men, older, and I don't mean that in the whatever gender connotation you want to take about that. I mean experienced people that are rough, that are going to stand up for them, that are going to teach them the ropes, and not just like, oh, they're nice people and they're cool kids. Like, we need badass people that are going to get stuck in, that aside from their ability, they have a deeper understanding of just the footballing world, because they're older, or they're around older people. So I'm not surprised by any of this. And absolutely, I can see Saka or anybody leaving in a couple of years. I'm not surprised. Like, if I'm Saka or if I'm ESR and Real Madrid come calling, or Barcelona come calling, or Juve or Milan, I might think about it twice. And of course, they're from London. They're Arsenal fans through and through. But at some point, it's like, money talks and people have priorities. Life is life, So I just try to be a little realistic and know that this is all of our own doing. Everything we've done, it's almost like I don't care what other teams do. We've done this. Wenger said and did things. Arteta has done things. Emery did and said things. So I'm not surprised, and I'm not too hopeful. And this is one of the reasons why I love the women's sport so much, because I don't have to really worry about any of this crap, or as much as so. That's my 2 cents, and I'll shut up.
No, don't shut up, not just yet. Luce, you and I have been kind of exchanging some messages about Xhaka too. And when you're trying to rebuild a team, and we've been talking about like turning this team over, and really, Arteta also building a team in his image with players that he feels can execute, his vision, his plan. You re-sign Xhaka. I understand the deal to Roma falling through, but then you re-sign him for 5 years and you give him more money. And if you're, I know Saka and ESR aren't thinking about these things right now, but their agents are. The people around them are, because ultimately players want to win. Grealish has been a shining star for Aston Villa for a few seasons. Harry Kane has given Tottenham his best years, actually. I mean,
I'm glad, you mentioned that, because to be honest with you, at the end of the day, these players want to win, especially these younger players. We've seen that they've got a passion, they've got a hunger. That's what they want to play football. They want to win. And like you said, Harry Kane, I don't know how he's stuck it out for so long. Bless him, really. 7 years without a trophy, playing at the level that he's been playing at. You've got to sort of give some of these players a bit of leeway and say, look, at the end of the day, they're athletes, but they want to win trophies. And the way that we've been going, the decline, obviously we're looking a lot less attractive. We don't really draw in big names anymore. Like we're sort of on the back burner as we get sort of not the leftovers, but we're not in the running for Haaland or anyone like that, in my opinion. We sort of see that as very unrealistic nowadays. So the fact that these younger players, Emi and Saka, have signed and do see a future at Arsenal, we've really got to grasp that opportunity and give them a reason to want to play for the club and want to play for the jersey, because they deserve it. The amount of work they put in and the amount of passion they have for the club still, despite all of the nonsense that's been going on. Xhaka is a completely
Luce, I know you have really strong feelings on Xhaka, but yeah. I actually don't think, and I don't know what you both think about this, I really don't think he's our biggest problem. But the problem I have is, okay, your deal fell through to Roma. You flirted with Mourinho on Instagram all summer. And then Arteta wants to say a few months ago, I shouldn't have to convince anyone to stay at the Arsenal. And then he's offering him a 5-year contract and more money. That's what I have issue with. I don't have an issue with Xhaka. I have an issue with how we conduct our business.
People say it's a personal agenda. It's nothing to do with having an agenda whatsoever. It's when a player comes out in public and says, I want to leave, then that's muggy in itself. That makes us look foolish for us to go and offer. If he wants to leave, let him leave. At the end of the day, you've come out and said that. So now I'm going to see him going out there and kissing the crest and all of this. The thing that happened at the Crystal Palace game, we kind of forgave. We know there were a selective group of supporters who were giving him and his family abuse, which is never okay. I'm not saying that's okay whatsoever. But at the same time, that wasn't all of the supporters. He never apologized for throwing the shirt. He never apologized for telling us all to F off, which I still feel in my heart of hearts that was unprofessional. No matter how much abuse you're taking, you're in the limelight and you're a professional athlete, so remain professional. But we forgave him for all of that. But he's got too many inconsistencies. You're always worried that there's going to be a red, which cost us points last season. And he's got a discipline problem, in my opinion. And there's better out there. And the thing that worries me the most is that now that we've signed him on a new deal, does that mean we're going to now not go and sign Basuma or sign someone else to be back up for Partey, which we now obviously need since his injury?
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. So, Demian, I know that you have strong feelings about Xhaka too. And I've defended him a lot on this show because I do feel, and I agree with some of the comments coming on in the squaddies in chat, is that he's becoming a bit of a scapegoat. He's an excuse for us doing bad business, right? And it's a 1-year extension, but it's over a period of time based on the deal he has, right? SFT, and he's been given a pay rise. That's the issue, is that what ambition are you showing to the fans? What ambition are you showing to these other players around you? What does this signing mean? Because hold on a second, Thomas Partey's now injured. So Lucy, with what you've said, we can't go into the season praying and hoping that Xhaka, Elneny and Lokonga are going to be the answer. I think Aziz is going to get his chances at some point. It doesn't look like he's going out on loan. But at the same time, I just feel like here we are again, Demian, making bad decisions over and over. But I really don't think it's fair for Arsenal fans. I think it's bordering on bullying now with Xhaka. I really do. I think there are a lot of other issues in the team, like Bellerin, Elneny, Chambers for me. I know that a lot of people like him, but there's something uncomfortable now about how Xhaka's being treated for me. And I know there's fine lines. Can you help me understand and explain where you're coming from as a fan, where he's...
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I agree with you. And I've been guilty of voicing my discontent, and I don't think I've ever insulted him because that's not my style, but I might have retweeted stuff or answered to a tweet on TalkSport or whatever and then deleted it. like today, I think they mentioned something about him resigning, and I said, "Oh no!" And then 2 minutes later, it's like that doesn't bring anything positive, right? So I think I have a bit of an arrogant answer. I think I deserve better than Granit Xhaka as a player for Arsenal Football Club. That's my opinion. And I also think that every other fan in the world deserves a player that's better than Xhaka. The same way that I feel that other players should be better, right? A better goalie. I much rather have Emi Martinez on goal and that whole thing. So to me, it's also a little bit black and white. He's not good enough, so I would rather it be somebody else. And I wish, in my silly, arrogant brain, as if I know anything, that Arteta would see this and be like, yeah, he's also not that good. And when I see, this obsession with it coming home, and you have Calvin Phillips, and you have Declan Rice, and you have amazing players that could do what Xhaka does, minus what Lucy brought up a great point. What seems to be, I wouldn't say necessarily a discipline problem, but every time I watch him and he gets a yellow card, I'm like, yeah, of course. Or I put the game on and I'm cooking and I hear that's going to be a yellow card. You know who's it going to be for, or that's a silly giveaway by, and you know who's it going to be, or that's a very unnecessary foul by. We know who's going to be, or at least me. And I wish him the best. I'm sure he's a great guy. I liked him when he played for Switzerland before we signed him, and I thought he would be amazing. And I'm sure he's a great player. And I'll say this. He has to be among the greatest footballers in the world to start for Arsenal Football Club, to play at World Cups and play at Euro Cups. And he has excelled, and he has gotten to a level way higher than probably any of us have done in our professions that would ever get there. So yes, he's amazing. I rather have a different player. The same way that I don't think Ozil would ever come close to Dennis Bergkamp. The same way that I thought nobody comes close to what RVP when we had him, or Ian Wright, or the passion of Kevin Campbell, or stuff like that's just my opinion. This is coming from a Venezuelan musician that loves Arsenal. And so I think that the bullying, the insults, that's never okay. I think that what that shows is a lack of empathy, and you choose to engage or not. So, Lucy brought up a great point. If he didn't apologize, to me, that's a bigger sign of something than if he scores or if he plays better or he gets less yellow cards. Those are things that, to me, I start seeing what an individual is about. And this is all speculation, right? This is all assumption. And it's fun. It's fun to assume.
So what would you say, because there's a strong comment in here, and I know you're not afraid to take on the strong comments, Demian and Lucy, like, he's saying it's disgusting to say you deserve better than Xhaka. I bet he feels he deserves better fans than you.
Sure. But then we can have an awesome, intelligent conversation about it.
Okay. So I want you both to address that. Go on. Who wants to go on, Demian? You can go, because it's related to you, and then I want Lucy to jump in as well.
I think the part of the problem with that interaction is calling something disgusting, right? I think it's more disgusting when a player that is your captain tells people to F off and takes his shirt off. That, I think, is disgusting sporting behavior. But we can have a conversation. I've not been in a situation like that where I've been so full of emotions where I can control or not control my emotions. So that's fine. It would have been nice for him to apologize. He didn't apologize. That's fine. That's who he is. Like, I don't know him. But I feel, and I would love that another player players like I grew up idolizing, Edu, Gilberto Silva, they would never do this. Lauren would never do this. Ashley Cole would never do this. So that is just where I stand. I don't know what players he grew up watching or what generation he's from. I am very arrogant that I watched every single match of the Invincible season. I've been supporting Arsenal since 1997, and I've seen amazing teams, and I can compare them player for player, and that's all I feel. I feel we deserve better. Now, if you believe that Xhaka is the best player that you deserve, that's your problem, or that's your standard. I respect it. I feel I deserve better, and that's a matter of opinion.
Luce?
Yeah, completely agree. I was at the Palace game. It was pre-COVID, and I can completely understand how in the heat of the moment, when the crowd are reacting a certain way to certain things that may or may not have happened, it's a lot of heat of the moment situation. I can understand that. However, you are a professional athlete in a working environment. At the end of the day, it's your job. Whether or not he thinks he deserves better fans, he's being paid to do a job and to take the criticism when he's not doing his job. For you to throw your shirt on the ground and tell the people who, I mean, not pay his wages, but essentially pay a part of his wages to fuck off, then I don't really understand what sort of reaction you think you're going to get in return for that. Whether you think in your brain that's going to help the situation, it's obviously not. There's issues on both sides, from obviously the supporters treating him a certain way and him treating the supporters a certain way. There's no right answer to it, but if he thinks he deserves better, then he's free to go elsewhere. Whether he wants to sign another contract or not, that's up to him and his agent. But
if I can add a couple of things really quick, and I love everything you said, Lucy. That's spot on.
Thank you.
I think we all have a choice. We're grown people. We have a choice about what we say and how we say. Right? I don't criticize Xhaka the player. To me, because I don't like him, it doesn't mean that I'm like criticizing him and saying that he's a bad professional.
So it's nothing to do with his personality. It's not a personal
exactly. I mean, it's just an opinion. And I also think that there's something to be said about it being a team sport. And of course, I don't think it's one player. I don't think Xhaka's responsible. If anything else, he's been very consistent. So the manager should see some patterns and decide what to do with it. Now, if he keeps playing Willian or he keeps playing Xhaka or whoever, then that is the manager that's making those decisions. So my opinion is completely irrelevant. Some people have loved players. Ozil, people loved Ozil. I couldn't wait for him to leave the club. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
You know, I think I love kind of the conversation and where we're heading here, because we've seen this movie before, you guys. We've put stock in in players, but there are certain players that are and do become scapegoats. Okay, now Ozil we expected a lot from. I mean, why wouldn't you? He's a superstar. Ozil's a superstar player. Alexis Sanchez was a superstar player. You know, those players were supposed to change the trajectory of the club, but unfortunately, we didn't do the right things in the transfer market to support them and how we could evolve as a team to be truly competitive. And my biggest concern is, and yes, it's called Groundhog Day. When I see, okay, everyone gets excited and you've got, and I say this with so much respect, you guys, you know, Saka walks in and he sees all of the wall of support. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing in this world today where there are so many assholes who say awful, inhumane things. For him to see this support is incredible. But what's going to keep Saka at the Arsenal is playing in a team that wins, playing in a team that thrives.
Absolutely.
And my biggest fear is, look, you know, Grealish went down with Villa, came back up. They almost got relegated by 1 point. Then last season, boom, they have a better season than we do, right? In comparison to squads. Aston Villa is a historic club, but it's a very long time since they've won the European trophies and had all of the glory that people are talking about. But they want to bring that back to their fans. They couldn't do it, even as rich as their owners are. They couldn't do it by keeping their best player. And they've bought in the Bayer Leverkusen player. I'm having a brain fart. You good squaddies will give me his name. They also bought in Buendia. They've made tracks, right, to try and build around this. But they're also going to get 100 million to rebuild their squad. And we've seen what happened with Tottenham when they sold Gareth Bale for however hundreds of millions of dollars it was to Real Madrid, and they wasted that money, right? And so for me, it just feels like I've woken up again, and it's like, here we go again. With, you know, if we do not invest in this team and in this squad and compete for the Premier League in the next 2 or 3 years, We will lose ESR. We will lose Saka. We will lose Martinelli. And you know what? We may even lose Kieran Tierney. That's my biggest fear, Lucy.
Yeah. And just touching on the Sanchez situation, if you want to talk about a player that deserved better, it was Alexis Sanchez. But all in all, I feel like the era of the scapegoat with Arsenal is over, because there are just so many problems coming out about the club now that we know it's not just Granit Xhaka. I feel like he's just part of the problem, like so many of the players that we have in our squad. I don't think it's a case of just bringing in one player or replacing one player or selling one player. It's a whole revamp of the entire system. That's the owner, the manager, the players, even the physio. We have so many like unnecessary injuries, recurring injuries. I know sometimes they can't be helped and it's a part of the game, but it just feels like we suffer a lot from it. Like we've just had Thomas Partey now, he's out for a few weeks. So it's not
Lucy
just
was
one
never
problem.
injured at Atletico Madrid.
That's what, me and my dad were just talking about that the other day, actually. I never knew of him to be mentioned with an injury problem at all. I mean, I didn't follow him all that closely, but now he's been injured like 5 times in last season or something ridiculous like that. Like what is going on with our medical and our physio assessments that all of our players? Kieran Tierney was out for a majority of the season. Like, why is this a part of such a big problem for us, an injury problem?
And Demian, it's so true, because losing him at the start, hopefully that's going to force them into this situation in terms of buying another midfielder. But one of the other subjects I wanted to touch, and it's very worrying, he's had muscle injuries since he's been at the Arsenal. He was very rarely injured in La Liga, and that shows you the difference in the league. It's more aggressive in the Premier League. There's more pressure. You've got no time on the ball. He needs to adapt, and he hasn't. And this is where the coaching comes into play. What have you seen in pre-season that we're going to go into a game against Brentford in 10 days that gives you hope that we're going to be a different team? And I'm sick and tired of people pointing the finger at Xhaka when this guy isn't scoring any goals. Why is he getting away with it?
Oh, my goodness. I'm at a loss.
It's not fair to point the finger at certain players and let others get away with it. This is the captain of the football team, and yet we're relying on this kid to change our fortunes. We're relying on this guy. Number 7 and number 10, the two most prolific, important, sexy shirts that any team can offer any player. You add Martinelli to this. Where is everyone holding this guy to account? Demian, why? This is where I feel like, stop bullying Xhaka, stop bullying any player, and talk the truth about the entire squad. Because Lacazette and Aubameyang, I'm sorry, right now it's not looking good. And I hope and pray to God that they change and they find a prolific form this coming season. But right now is exceptionally worrying. You've got Partey injured. You've got that creative midfielder. Right now we're willing to give up Willock, Reece and Maitland-Niles to just get Maddison, and I'll get to that in a minute. But what about the captain, Demian?
Well, to touch on a point that Lucy sort of hinted at, and you as well, Sophie. My problem is not necessarily the transfers. It's when they happen. So you got to get the cliche. You hear this on TalkSport all day. You got to get your business done early, right? So people get acclimated. They understand the language. They understand the culture of the club. Everything, how to get to the training ground, all these things matter. Footballers are people, right? There are things that go in their brains that they need to get used to, and they need to have this comfort of continuity and so on and so forth. So when you are forced to buy a new midfielder because Partey's injured, that is not ideal. Back in the day with the Invincibles, for example, if Edu was injured, other player came in. If Patrick Vieira was injured, another player came in. You had several players. When you look back at Man United of the treble winning side, they had 4 basically world-class forwards at the time. Dwight York, Andy Cole, Teddy Sheringham, and Solskjaer. So they all played. If one was out of form, the other guy came in and played, and then so on and so forth. So you have a healthy rotation of players. You have a healthy squad That's the whole point. It is a team sport. And to me, it should be a little more ruthless. Like I don't need to know why Aubameyang's not scoring or Lacazette. If they're not, you bench them and you bring in, wow, a super energetic, athletic kid that's hungry. I wonder where we can find him. Oh, Gabriel Martinelli's there. Why don't you start him for once, right? To me, it's a little easier. Like, again, and from my ignorant standpoint, it's like we can be a little more ruthless. And if none of the options are there, then you buy somebody that you should sit on a table and be like, okay, who can we get that already knows the league, that has a really good track record, that doesn't get injured, and all these pros and cons, and you weigh them and then you give them the money that you need to, they sure as hell have the money. They're not spending it on Arsenal women, they're not spending it on a lot of the things that we know they should be spending. So that's what I think. It's a matter of, it's a combination of little things that make this, to me, be a bigger deal. I like Aubameyang. I think he's great. I think he's going to come good. I hope so. And if he doesn't, hey man, thank you for your services. Let's try to find somebody else.
You know what people are saying to me in chat is, Soph, he's got coupons. He was our savior. He scored 67 goals in like 115 games or whatever. Football doesn't work that way, people. And life doesn't work that way. It's instant gratification now. It's what have you done for me lately?
Right. You're only as good as your last game, and as far as I can remember, he hasn't done anything in his last game. So
when was his last good game, Luce? I mean,
that's the question, isn't it? Like
probably the FA Cup final.
Yeah, that's depressing. Actually, I didn't even think about that.
Look, sorry, go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, obviously, like I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Obviously. He had his issues at home. His mum wasn't well. He got malaria. Okay, fine. We'll sweep that. Now, if he doesn't come out and perform, like you said, thank you for everything that you did, but we need to move forward and go ahead. I'm sick of the sentimental nonsense, to be honest. Like all of this, but he's an Arsenal boy and he loves the club, but I don't care. We need ruthlessness. We need ambition. We need goal scorers and people who create chances, at least, if not goal scorers.
Okay, so Lucy, you bring up a great point, because I've been empathetic, and we all have, to these issues. Okay, look, Saliba lost parents, and you saw Alisson lose his father. Jurgen Klopp lost a parent. Liverpool weren't the same. There was something different about them last season. It's not easy to overcome those things, but you get back in, you get stuck in, you got to roll on. That's life, right? And I don't think it's fair for any of us to say, well, how did it make him feel? And then he got malaria and all of these things that he was dealing with. That's really, really hard. But at some point, you have to also rise to the occasion and fight back, because that's life. That's what we have to do. And if you're captain of Arsenal Football Club, you've got to be able to do that. And some people think I have an agenda against Aubameyang. Go watch all of these other shows from the last 2 seasons about us lauding and raving about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and what a legend, and how he saved the club. Him and Leno, actually, his saves saved us in those 2 seasons. And they've both regressed. Why do players regress at the Arsenal?
The thing that bothers me about saying, "Oh, you're criticizing him too much," is it? I'm a supporter. I put money into the club. So if I see a player that's not performing and not doing the bare basics of what they're there to do, I have every right to come out and say what I'm criticizing him for, as anyone does if they have any criticism. But I'm a football fan. I'm not there to promote toxic positivity and just say, but if you don't get behind the team, then you're not an Arsenal supporter. I want to see us do well, and I want to see us winning trophies, because that's the whole point. And if that makes me toxic or it makes me a bully, then I'm sorry, but that's my prerogative, is winning.
You know what? You bring up a good point, because Demian, I'd like to kind of make sure, and on this show, we really try to, we wear our hearts on our sleeves. We say what we think, and that is how it is. I'm sorry, but, it is, we're not just going to pacify the team. We're just not going to talk and be like Lordy and Kumbaya all the time when there are issues that you see, okay, and that you feel need to be addressed. And then if you say something and it's constructive criticism, it is regarded as toxicity. And I think that's the part that has become almost intolerable and impossible in order for some Arsenal fans to have a conversation about.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's like, I don't care what other people think about my opinion about the Arsenal, except my friends that I like them, right? It's very convenient. But I think it is very toxic. And you know me, I'm an incredibly positive person. I'm all about optimism and focusing on positive things. But the best way I can illustrate it is this. For all of those fans that don't live in Los Angeles or the West Coast of the United States of America, you need to understand what makes Sophie and I wake up at 3:30 in the morning just to get the lineups and then stay awake and not wake up our spouse that are sleeping while we celebrate goals or we just insult every player on the team or whatever, or punch the bed and all that stuff. Like, I'm not willing to wake up at 4 a.m. for Granit Xhaka. I'm sorry. I am not. I can't control that. So these aren't choices that I'm making. Like, it's not that I dislike Xhaka or that I dislike this or that, or I can't control it. I don't know who you are that you think you can control your feelings. You can manage your feelings, but you can't just choose how you're feeling. And that's not how I feel. Now I wake up at 4 a.m. to watch Daniel van de Donk and Beth Mead and Leo Williamson all day. I wake up any day. That excites me. That gets me up in the morning. This team doesn't do that. A part of it, it's not only the performances on the field. I think the manager could be doing better. I think the board could do things better. And then you hear stuff like the Super League, for example, and like people pretending like that is gone. No, that is a massive red flag that I think we can't overlook. That speaks a lot about the club or what ideas they had, and then they made a mistake. And it's not like Twitter fleets. They're like, oh, we're sorry. This is a bullet we dodged that could have signified every single person that I knew that was into the sport, minus one person, say, I'm not watching football again. That's how crazy this was. Yeah. I was like looking at Peterborough United shirts. Like, so I think going to what Sophie said and what Lucy said, excuse me. Yes, you have to have your opinion. It's your right to say how you feel. If we want to be respectful, that's our choice. If we want to be disrespectful, that's our choice. But at the end of the day, it comes from us wanting the club that we love, that we've invested so much energy and so much time to give us what we feel the club deserves, not even what we deserve, what we feel the club that itself deserves, because the better they do or better it does, the more likely players are going to want to come in that maybe a Sergio Ramos would have come if we were 10% better.
He was on my list.
So I've talked about him. I used to talk about Guti. That's how old I am, and that's how much I love players that were like at that cusp. Yeah. So,
but Demian, look how people poo-poo Thiago Silva and Zlatan and Cavani and Sergio Ramos. Well, we're just not in that game. That is not we're not in that.
Sure,
we're not even.
But we had
anymore.
But Correct. We had David Luiz, and then we had Willian, and we had a couple of other players that just haven't performed. Like, it's also like, I don't want to say luck, but hey, we tried. We've tried with, like, Wenger tried with, he saw the Iniesta Xavi model, and then he was Fabregas and Hleb and all these players. Like, I get it. You tried. That's fine. I love the trying. That's what life is all about, right? You have to try. And if it fails, you do something else, right? So no, I'm not willing to say or have anybody tell me, because I had this argument before, that I am not a true fan because I don't think Arteta should be the coach. I'm sorry.
It disgusts me.
That's
really
not
does.
How it works. That's if Lucy told me, Demian, you know what? I don't think Pep is the right coach. I don't think Carlo Ancelotti. That's your opinion. Who do you think? Maybe I'm not thinking of somebody. So to shut me down or shut Sophie down or shut Lucy down because of an opinion, that what that shows is like, I'm sorry, but you don't know what you're talking about. That's not how life works. People have opinions, and you have to be respectful. And if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. So my parents met at an Arsenal match. So since before, wow. But and I've been going since I was 8. And my first game when I went to Highbury, that moment where you're with your parents or whoever, and you walk out and you see that pitch, and I fell in love from that moment. So, since then, all of my time, my money, my energy, coming on the podcast, like Twitter, everything, all invested into this club. So for someone to sit there and to tell me, oh, you don't want whoever at the club, you're not a real fan, you're not an Arsenal fan. Who are you to come and tell me that I'm not an Arsenal fan because your opinion's different? I feel like if you've got an opinion, fair, we won't agree, of course, whatever. But I've had people say to me, oh, you're a fake fan, go support Tottenham. It just baffles me. It really does.
You know, and you know what, Lucy, what I love about you is sharing your story because, and also some people want to know what the game was when you were 8 and who it was against.
Oh, the game, I believe it was Blackburn. We won 3-0. We won 3-0, I believe.
Very cool. Blackburn Rovers. Another show we're doing in a couple of weeks with Adam Catterall from TalkSport about the money in the game. Best. I love Adam. He's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. And his Blackburn Rovers won the Premier League and now they are in football no man's land. You know?
That's right.
And don't forget how long Leeds were out. You know, don't forget how long it took Liverpool to win the title. This is how quickly things can happen, how quickly you can become irrelevant, you know. And we're not an irrelevant club in terms of a big club around the world. We're just irrelevant in the Premier League, you know. And Lucy, one of the things I loved about what you said, this is one of the things that's really important on our show too. Demian is a Venezuelan who lives in America. He's a musician, but he's loved Arsenal since the late 90s, right? Your mum and dad met at an Arsenal match. You know, you've been baptized at Highbury, right?
They used to sing me Dennis Bergkamp's song to get me to go to sleep as a baby.
That's amazing. You should see my little altar that's over there, but I won't show it to you.
My favorite player. Player.
And look at that. I guess, you know, for us, it's so hard because sports is cyclical, right? We've had the Vieira, Bergkamp, Henry, Pires years, Overmars, Freddie. We've been blessed with just so much joy in our football lives. And like anything in life, when you lose something so good, you know, it freaks you out. It becomes like what you thought was normal is now not normal. And you have to adapt to that. And what do people really struggle with in life a lot is change. Change isn't easy. Change is good. It keeps you on your feet. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you going. But it's really difficult. And my biggest fear is we saw it with, we lost Clichy, we lost RVP, we lost Fabregas, we lost Nasri, we lost even, let's say, Alexander Kleb at the time. We lost players.
Sanya.
I mean, we lost them all. And there's a reason why. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, whatever it is. Right?
Yeah.
And here we are in a situation. So this is why I wanted to do the show today. And I'll get your closing statements from both of you, because I was thinking to myself, how long will we go on like this before Saka says, you know what? I really want to win something. And if he can't win it at Arsenal, who will blame him for wanting to go win it somewhere else? Luce.
My message to Arsenal Football Club is to stop. If you're staying, Stan Kroenke, I'll speak to you. I'm sure you're listening. If you're going to stay, stop making the same mistakes and just listen to what the supporters are telling you. Apart from fucking off, like, we'll let that lie for a little bit. Saka, Emil, Martinelli, all within their rights to go and seek out better. But I hope they do want to commit and stay and play for us and maybe try and regain some of the positivity and the passion for the club again. And just looking forward to seeing like how the new signings get on more than anything, like maybe emit a bit more positivity. And yeah, fingers crossed Aubameyang comes out of his shell again.
You know, that's what we did yesterday, guys. Demian, we decided we're not going to focus on Xhaka. We're not going to focus on these things. We're just going to focus on Ben White. Great player profile from Josh from a Bergkamp Wonderland. We've been focused on the positives, but there's a day like this where you see these moves and you see these things happening and you can't help but my heart sank and I thought to myself, oh, dear God, I hope we can do the right thing and not make the same mistakes we did when we signed Santi and Ozil and Alexis Sanchez and, you know, had the moment to build a team that could have won the Premier League, Demian.
Well, what Lucy said was amazing. I totally agree. I think to close off, I'm thankful. I'm thankful not only for this space, obviously, but I'm thankful that I'm an Arsenal fan. It's the best. I love it. The ups and downs, the logo is beautiful. I love everything about it, right? I love every time I go on tour and I take time off, risking my job to go to the Emirates and walk around in awe and see a Godzilla-sized Dennis Bergkamp drawing, painting, and Thierry's statue. I mean, everything. It's just magic. I'm thankful to the fans. I'm thankful to the Arsenal supporters trust that have our best interest. I'm always moved by that. And I just want people to know that, going back to what you said about adapting, the Invincibles aren't coming back. That's why we love them so much. There is no Dennis Bergkamp, right? I mean, I have 5 Dennis Bergkamp jerseys. I have a freaking altar over there. Like,
let's see it.
I gotta unplug. I'll show you in a minute.
Okay.
But these are players that are not coming back, so we have to adapt, and we have to come to terms that things change, things evolve, and hopefully the club will come around. What I'll say is this: if you're looking for players that commit, players that give their all 110% every single match, homegrown players, academy players, players whose favorite players were Tony Adams and Ian Wright, and players of that stature. If you're looking for flying, wingers, if you're looking for some of the best number 10s on the planet, if you're looking for the greatest women's striker in the history of the game, basically, if you're looking for the world-class players, we have maybe 6 at Arsenal women in the squad: Katie McCabe, Steph Catley, Kim Little, Jordan Nobbs, Leah Williamson. I mean, it's insane. The squad we have, we are so privileged to have this. So if you are going through a lot of shit in your life and it's a lot of stress, in this club, the men's squad is like just digging you into the ground and beating you into the ground, take a sidestep and look at Arsenal women, what they do, how amazing they are, how incredible. Yeah, everybody's taking a step. They are.
I couldn't not.
They're amazing. Watch the matches. If you want to know who they are, let me know. I'll gladly educate you on who they are, their history, what they've done. You don't have to look any further. So I'm telling you this as a fan who has shifted, and I make no apologies. I've shifted a lot. And of course, I told you about not waking up. I still wake up every freaking morning whenever Arsenal play, and I go through the internet to get a stream if I don't have the match. I text Sophie at 4 a.m, knowing that she's awake if she has the link. So yes, I love Arsenal. I'll always love Arsenal. I don't care if they get relegated. I'm gonna be in love with Arsenal. I don't switch. I break before I bend, but I switch a little bit towards the women. And the satisfaction I've gotten, the love I've received back from being a fan, the community. There's no racism. There's no diving. There's no corruption. There's no betrayal. It doesn't matter. It's just so beautiful. And for those of you in the LGBTQ community, this is such a beautiful space where you are accepted, respected, and you're basically the norm. And it's just so beautiful to see, as a straight cis male, how beautiful it is to be part of that community, and the love and the support. And, it's just magnificent. So if there's one squad that should be playing at the Emirates, should be the women's squad. And that's what I'll say. Enjoy it. And if I can be a vehicle to take you from point A to point B, I'll gladly do that. Let me know. I'm all ears all the time, and do it now, because who knows how long Viv is on the team, how long we have with Jordan. She just got really badly injured. And I think Beth Mead is going to have the best season of her life starting soon.
There's a lot to be said about kind of, the ethics of the women's game, from the non-diving to acceptance of all cultures, how they deal with racism, how they deal with sexism, how they deal with all of it. And our team is trailblazing. The Arsenal Football Club women's team have really been game changers. They truly have. And in a time where the men's team is a little bit dark, I know it's a lot of, for some fans, it's a difficult pill to swallow and they're not into it. And that's fine. Maybe along the way, like you said, Demian, we'll bring some fans along the way with our Arsenal women's show this season too. But I think the purity of it, you know, and seeing Vivian score the goals she did in the Olympics, it was so Bergkamp-esque. It was ridiculous. I mean, I felt like I was watching Dennis at some point, just her touches and her finishing. So I think it's going to be really important for us to emphasize the women going forward, and it's going to be a huge part of the Highbury squad, right? And Luce, I know that's something that you're looking forward to.
I was saying that was the goal, is I wanted to learn more about women's football along with like lower league football as well, at Championship, but just work has been a bit crazy. So I'm glad to see that you're going to be on here, like taking a lead on that. I'm actually very excited to learn more about it.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
It's going to be great. Well, look, I wanted to have, it was another one of those spontaneous football conversations today, because I woke up and I felt a little bit despair in the sense that, you know, we've signed Ben White, we've signed Lokonga. They're two really good signings, you guys. You know, Tavares is going to be a good deputy to Tierney, and he can also be a good deputy maybe at right back, but I don't want to create more, you know, players and jack of all trades and master of none. Before I let you go real quick, I wanted to get your take on this Maddison news, in the sense that I don't know, and maybe the squaddies can correct me. Are we offering Willock, Reece and Maitland-Niles all together to get Maddison? That can't be, right? Are we
the last I heard was that it was 50 million and one player. So I automatically assumed it would be Maitland-Niles, but 3 sounds more like, I don't think they'd go for just one player with 50 mil for Maddison personally, but
I mean, if they're asking, because they want, the valuation is 70 plus, right? So if we've got the 50 and then the player, but it seems like Willock would be a better fit in the trade in terms of what they're losing. I know they've got, you know, Buendia and stuff like that, but I would assume it's only one of those 3. So if it's one of those 3, Demian, which one are you letting go out of Willock, Reece and Maitland-Niles? And is it worth it to get Maddison?
I really like Maddison. I really like them. I love them. Every time I've seen him play, I think he's classy. I think he's elegant. I think he's spunky. I like him. I don't really particularly love Reece Nelson. I haven't seen anything where I'm like, whoa, he better stay at my club. Not really. So I have no emotional attachment. Now, DVD, when she left, I'm still crying every day to sleep. So that we have bigger problems in this household. But yeah, I would say Reece Nelson.
I think the biggest bargain tool is Willock. But the question is what's going to happen with Newcastle, right? And Reece, I think, is maybe talking to Palace. I think there's been rumblings with Palace, but I don't blame Arsenal for throwing the kitchen sink.
Sure.
But how sad is it? That's 3 Hale End boys, right? This is what I'm talking about, you guys. You got to let go. You got to be ruthless. You can't be emotional in this game. Aston Villa fans are losing their minds today about Grealish. Already they're like, oh, he's not a legend. He's not this. He's not that.
I don't blame them.
Right? I mean, that's a difficult pill to swallow. We hate Tottenham, but losing Kane, they're toast. We're in a better position than Tottenham, I believe, going into this season.
Yeah, 100%. I think right. But if their people are going to do a lot with the money they make, then they're going to be in a better position. You know, maybe the best thing for them to do is get rid of Kane and buy 3-4 players that are going to plug in the gaps that they truly really need. I don't know. And as far as the Haaland thing that you say, I'm no one. I mean, Lucy, she's from there basically.
She was born there. We know now,
right,
eh?
Right. So you know, she might have been conceived at Highbury for all we know. We don't know this.
I would hope not.
That's what the rumors say. But yeah, so I don't see that. I mean, to me, it's like where I'm at, detached. It's like, oh, it's a shame, but it doesn't. You know, I'm not a London boy, so it doesn't really affect me.
I think also because Reece hasn't really ingrained himself in the first team to fall in love with him, right? And to be in love with him. And
Maitland-Niles though is a penalty savant, and I love that guy.
Yes, there's a connection with Maitland-Niles. There's a loose connection with Willock. You know,
sure,
we've seen it, but the connection is, wow, how proud are we that he went to Newcastle and saved them from relegation? Now sell him and make the money. Why can't we do that? Liverpool and Chelsea are selling no named players for 20 million plus.
Yeah, their reserves and their academy players are going for 20 mil. It's crazy, and we can't even get anything for some of our first team players.
Exactly.
Can't even get an offer.
Exactly. And here's why. You know why people take advantage of us in the transfer market? Because we've done bad business. They know we're desperate, and they know we can't sell any of these guys.
That's the word. Desperate is the word, and we're associated with desperation.
Yes.
I still think that we should spend every single cent on Bielsa or somebody else and revolutionize this club properly and get a proven manager. And I almost don't care who the players are. Give me a coach that I believe in and let the chips fall where they may. That's how I'm built.
I agree with you completely, but the issue I have with that is the way of decline that our club is in. Who is going to want to take on all of the problems that we have? That's the only thing that
money talks. That's what I'm saying.
Money talks, but also Bielsa is the kind of coach that loves a project. Of these experienced coaches, like what Leeds was a project. I mean, someone like he's managed some of the best players in the world. This guy. I mean, he's not a joke. I mean, that's the thing, right? So 10 games in, if we're languishing and we're in the same place, we've got to make a move.
Got to go.
Right?
It's got to go.
We've got to make a move. And yes, Bielsa finished below us last season, but look at the tools and resources he had, you guys. It's Leeds who have been out of the Premier League for 20 plus years. Are you kidding me? I mean, has it been 20 years? It was a long time. And the fact that they were able to come up and they played pretty well against us and a lot of the top teams and did very well to sustain themselves in the league. So you can poo-poo it all you like, but I'm sorry. This is the reality.
He's got more experience than Arteta has, realistically.
Look, I'm not asking for a change now, but I'm saying, like, if it's 10 games in and we're in the same position, if Antonio Conte is still out of work and he's looking, I don't know, he's a man. He's a Pep Guardiola and a Mourinho. He needs money. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. And a Bielsa, is he motivated to leave Leeds to come to Arsenal? Why would he? Right? I mean, what's the difference between us and Leeds right now? We won the FA Cup. We finished almost level pegging in the Premier League. I'm not downplaying us as a club, you guys, because we can still attract, we can still attract players. We signed players without Champions League football, right? But now we have no European football. We're struggling. Look at it. We signed Oba and Laka and Thomas Partey and Gabriel and Pepe with at least Europa League football, a route maybe back into the Champions League. But now with no European football, it's not easy.
This is the thing with no European football. There's not really any excuse. He's got to put out his best first team every week. So we will see now what he really does think the formation is to take us forward. He's had the opportunity to experiment. We can't experiment anymore. We've got to now go. He's got to go all in and do what he thinks is going to take us forward. And if he doesn't do that, I'd say, 10 games in and we're in a worse or the same position, then he's got to go. And we've got to get. I don't know what the plan B is, but we need one.
And the FA Cup changed everything. You win a trophy in your first half season as manager. You get the love coupons from the fans. You believe, they sold us on this thing again, though. We've seen it, though. We saw it with Wenger's 3 FA Cups. We saw it with Arteta's. Oh, this is a great team. We can challenge. But we all know that's not true, but that's what they sell us. And that's also another tough pill to swallow. So, I don't know. It's really tricky. I hope that we do the right thing. I hope that we build on the Ben White, Lokonga, Tavares signing. I hope that we get the attacking midfielder. I hope that we bring in more midfield. I hope we get a right back. I hope we get a backup goalkeeper. But you know what? It's August and we have 21 days until this transfer window is shut. I wanted to thank
Arsenal.
Typical Arsenal, exactly. Wanted to thank both of you for joining us. And you know what? Not a good time to promote this, but I'm going to. Aubameyang signed boot. Who wants it? Go to footballprizes.co.uk and grab your ticket. I'm going to give you a question right now, and I'm going to give away a free ticket. First person time stamped to email the highburysquad@gmail.com wins it. How many goals has Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored for the Arsenal? How many goals has Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored for the Arsenal? Total. Email the Highbury Squad. Lucy wins the ticket.
Yay.
The hybridSquad@gmail.com. Get your answers in now, and we will give you the free ticket, and the draw is on Friday. Okay. What do you guys want everyone to know before you leave, and let everyone know where they can find you? Demian.
You can find me at Demian Arriaga, or Arriaga, if you can roll your R's. On Twitter, Instagram. I do Twitch as well. Not so much music because I'm about to tour, but every Friday at noon, that kind of conflicts with this show. Don't kill me. I have what I call the Arsenal Women Friday chat on Twitch.
Oh, I love
beautiful.
that.
It's interactive, very much like this. And I'm about to launch an Arsenal Women podcast in about 2 weeks, if everything goes right, which will be interviews with some of the players and just basically nothing about football. It's going to be music, what gets them motivated, what have been some of their struggles, what their favorite food is, all this other stuff to try to, if we had the chance to speak to this with Thierry or Dennis, imagine how amazing would it be. So I'm going to do my best to get this content out for all of you.
Awesome. And of course, we'll be launching our women's show. Look out for the announcement on that coming this season. We wish you luck, and we love your Friday show on Twitch as well. And you have our massive support. Luce, let everyone know where they can find you. You'll be appearing more on our Wednesday women's show this coming season. Let everyone know where they can find you.
So I'm at Luce to be honest, or LUCETBH on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, I'm always on there, so stop by for a chat. I'm always about to moan about something Arsenal related. So
great stuff. As you guys know, here on the Highbury Squad, we love organic football talk and chat. It's just so much fun. The transfer window is going to be a merry-go-round for a very long time. So hold on, and let's pray that our club does the right thing and we do get those reinforcements. And let's also hope that we continue to build on this great football club that we all know and love, so we can keep these very special boys, Saka and ESR, Martinelli, Kieran Tierney, et al. We'll be back tomorrow with Arsblog. Thursday night with Arsblog. You won't want to miss that one. Kev will be back tomorrow night as well. And on Friday, we have Kevin Says. In the meantime, I'm going to let you both take us out. You can do a little, it's always got to be up the Gunners. So you can take 10 seconds each, and Demian, you could start, and Luce could just like smash it and do the close.
Should I say just up the Gunners? Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, both of you. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Up the Gunners.
Go on, Luce.
Oh, we're doing a salute.
We're doing a salute? Yeah, we kind of did it. We kind of did it.
I did the thing. I was like, yeah. And then you guys were like, okay, cool, let's do it.
We got to agree to do this better next time. That's what we do.